When I was 8, my parents bought a second-hand toddler bed at a yard sale down the street from the old Polish community center. It was cheap, $20, and came with the original mattress still on it. The sheets were gone, but the bedspread was this thick, fleece blanket permanently tucked under the rails like it had fused to the frame over the years. No one bothered to remove it. Why would they? It was cute. Printed across the entire top was a girl. Big round face, enormous smiling eyes, freckles like scattered confetti. She wore a bright green sweater that looked 2 sizes too big and a red and white mushroom cap for a hat, tilted jauntily like she was posing for a school picture. Under her in bubbly yellow letters it read Tink in all caps, with little white daisies dotting the eyes. My mom thought it was adorable. Like a little forest fairy, she said. I hated it on sight. Something about the way Tink stared straight ahead, no pupils, just black dots, made my skin crawl even then. We called it the Tink bed. I slept in it for almost 2 years. The first night nothing happened. The second night I woke up because the blanket felt heavier. Like someone had laid another comforter on top of me while I slept. I kicked it off and went back to sleep. By the third night the weight was unmistakable. Not just fabric. It pressed down in the shape of small hands and knees, right over my chest. I could feel the outline of elbows digging in. When I opened my eyes, Tink's face was inches from mine, printed, flat, smiling exactly the same, but the green sweater looked bunched up, as though she'd crawled forward on all fours to get closer. I screamed. My dad came running, turned on the light, laughed it off as a bad dream. You're too old for night terrors, kiddo. He smoothed the blanket flat again. Tink's mushroom hat was perfectly centered. Nothing out of place. After that I started sleeping on top of the covers. The blanket still felt wrong, too warm, too clingy, like it was trying to mold itself to whatever shape was underneath. One morning I found tiny damp spots on the green sweater part of the print, right where armpits would be. Salty when I touched them. I told my mom the bed smelled funny. She washed the blanket in hot water. When it came out of the dryer, the colors were brighter. Tink's smile looked wider. The red mushroom cap seemed to have grown a little, the white spots bigger. I started noticing things in the house that weren't there before. A single red and white mushroom cap earring on the kitchen windowsill. A green thread caught in the hallway light fixture. My little sister, 3 at the time, began humming a tune I'd never heard. Wordless, lilting, like a commercial jingle from another country. When I asked what it was, she said, Tink song. She pointed at the bedroom ceiling. She sings it when you're asleep. I begged to sleep on the couch. My parents said no, you're not going to let a silly blanket chase you out of your own room. So I started sleeping on the floor beside the bed instead. The blanket stayed on the mattress, perfectly smooth, waiting. One night I woke up because the room was cold. The window was shut, but the air felt like late autumn. I looked up. The Tink bed was empty. No blanket. No pillow. Just the bare striped mattress. Then I heard it, soft thumping from under the bed. Like someone small crawling in tight circles. I didn't move. I couldn't. The thumping stopped. Silence. Then a whisper, high and sweet and slightly staticky, like an old TV broadcast. Spidge, Mally. Tink Chica. I didn't know Polish then. I know now it means sleep, little one. Tink is waiting. I stayed frozen until morning. When the sun came up I looked under the bed. The blanket was there, folded neatly, mushroom half facing up, smiling at me like it had never left. That was the day I refused to go back in the room. My parents finally gave in and moved me to the pull-out in the living room. They boxed up the Tink bed and stuck it in the garage with the holiday decorations. I thought that was the end. 2 weeks later my dad went out to get the Christmas lights and came back pale. The box was open. The blanket was spread out across the concrete floor. Tink was still printed there, same as always, green sweater, red mushroom hat, wide black dot eyes. But now there was something new. A small handprint, child-sized, damp, in the middle of her chest. Right over the heart. 5 little fingers splayed like she'd pressed herself against the inside of the fabric trying to get out. We threw the whole thing away that night. Bed frame, mattress, blanket, everything. Drove it to the dump ourselves. My dad said nothing the whole ride. When we got home, he locked every window and checked the doors twice. I still heard the song sometimes. Faint. Coming from the vents. Or from inside the walls. Always the same lilting notes. My sister stopped humming it after a while. She doesn't remember Tink at all now. Last year I was back home helping clean out the garage. Found an old photo album buried under paint cans. One picture stopped me cold. It was me at 8, sitting on the Tink bed, arms around my knees, forced smile for the camera. The blanket is bunched up behind me. In the green folds of Tink's sweater, barely visible unless you know to look, there's the faint outline of a second face. Smaller. Pressed cheek to cheek with the printed one. Same mushroom hat. Same empty black eyes. But the smile is different. It's mine. I burned the photo. I don't keep physical pictures anymore. Sometimes at night I still wake up feeling that familiar weight across my chest. Small knees. Small hands. One breath against my ear that smells faintly of laundry detergent and forest moss. And always the same soft, staticky whisper. Spidge, Mally. Tink Chica. I don't answer. I just lie there until it fades. Because I know if I ever speak back, if I ever say her name, she'll finally climb all the way through. And there won't be any blanket left to hold her in.